Hello there, and welcome to Field Study, an exploration of wild food and the landscape. So coming up in this week's episode, I'm going to be taking a short walk down this disused stretch of road and showing you all of the wild edible plants that I find along the way. Stay tuned. So spring is definitely the time to be picking young, soft nettle tops like these. These are my absolute favourite. This is my favourite time of the year for picking nettles, and they are beautiful down here. Now I've picked this spot in particular because these nettles are on top of a wall, which means that they are sort of out of the way of dogs and other animals that might want to urinate on them. But look how beautiful and lush they look. There are so many ladybirds about. Look, there's one over there. There's a few over there and another couple. Here's one over here as well. And then if we go up here, there's one up here as well. So that's just like 3 meters squared. Down there as well on that bit of elder. And I know I always bang on about stinging nettles, but they truly are one of my favourite plants. They are versatile, so versatile and so nutritious. Coming up in the week, I'm going to be releasing another video of a recipe that I've been meaning to do for a while, for a nettle soup that will blow your socks off. It's fantastic, and it just makes an excellent change for that ubiquitous springtime nettle soup, which is creamy and green and very bland. So you can look forward to that. So this is a little bit mental. There is a microclimate down here where I am at the moment, but this is an elder tree and it is just starting to put flowers out. How crazy is that? This is the 2nd of April today and it is starting to put out these beautiful little inflorescences. And yeah, I don't know, that seems super early to me. Look, there's some more over there as well. That's getting me quite excited for elderflower season actually. I have run out of my favourite elderflower vinegar that I make every year, so that needs replenishing in my stock cupboard. So one of the most common things that I get asked on the YouTube channel is how to know when a plant is polluted, whether that be with like dog or animal urine or other pollutants. And I always say it pays to know what a healthy plant looks like and what an unhealthy plant looks like. Now if we look here at these beautiful nettle tops, look, there's another ladybird there and another one there. There are thousands of them down here at the moment. You can see that they are this beautiful dark chlorophyll green, and they look pretty happy, you know what I mean? They're sort of uniform in colour, they are growing away nicely, and they look like healthy plants. When plants get stressed, they tend to sort of change colour, mutate, get stunted, that sort of thing. But these ones look absolutely beautiful, and I would definitely pick these and they would come home with me. However, if we take a short walk over here, we have this patch of nettles. And something has clearly happened here, over there as well. If you look at these, they are yellowing, as you can see, as the leaves sort of die off. That's a stress response. And you can see that sort of patination there as well. So this is what a plant looks like when it is stressed. Now sometimes if it is in the dog wee zone down here, you can see quite a lot of this sort of thing as the exposure to the ammonia sort of burns the leaves, etc. I'm not too sure what has happened here, because for a dog to be able to wee up that high, it would need to be twice the height of a Great Dane. So my reckoning is that this is some other form of pollutant, maybe something that's trickled down from above. This thing here is a good sight to see, and one to remember for a little bit later on in the season. Look at those indicative spikes on there. Wow, formidable this plant is. So this is the gooseberry, and it's sort of a plant of woodland edges, and you recognise it by this very distinct leaf shape, and it's got these lovely sort of opposite spines on its stalks. But it isn't good to us at the moment. It will be good later on in the season. when the gooseberries become ripe, and we'll have some lovely tart, sour gooseberries down here. It is worth noting that gooseberries in woodland settings don't always produce fruit. But then again, in a place like this, it would be unsurprising if the birds didn't get there before the humans. So yes, this is one that I'll definitely keep an eye on over the coming months. Now, I'm going to need to take my bag off for this one, because there's something that I found, but it is right in there. I'm not sure if you can see it from here. So come with me, let's sort of wade our way through these nettles, do a little bit of light trespassing, and I'll show you something rather exciting. So it's worth bearing in mind that I am down here in the very south of the UK, down on the Isle of Wight. In fact, I'm on the southernmost tip of the Isle of Wight right now, and lots of things appear here earlier than they might do near you. So that is just one thing to bear in mind. But what I found here is one of my favourite sort of like spring, early summer mushrooms. It's actually quite mature. Oh, slippery. Bloody hell. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. There we go. Now, I fall off this trunk, I might land in those nettles there. So over there on the other trunk, I can't quite reach it, and it's a little bit too mature for me to take, is dryad saddle, also known as pheasant's back mushroom, because of that beautiful sort of like feathery patination on the top of it. So what we have over here is what used to be called Polyporus squamosus. I'm not too sure what the Latin binomial, the scientific name for it, is now, but this is pheasant's back mushroom, or dryad saddle. For a beginner forager, pheasant's back is probably the best thing to remember it as, because it reminds you to have a look at this beautiful patination on top, which looks like scales, or the feathers on the back of a pheasant. But this is a polypore, meaning that it has pores underneath the cap instead of gills. So instead of sort of gills or blade-like structure underneath the cap, it has this network of pores, so it is spongy. So this is how we know it is a polypore mushroom, is it has pores under the cap. So dryad saddle will be growing usually from dead or dying wood, from a sort of stalk-like structure like that, and it will have this beautiful patination on the top. Falling down a hole again. And so another thing to pay attention to is the smell, and this mushroom has a really sort of alluring fragrance, and it's really interesting and pretty singular in the landscape. And it smells like cucumbers or watermelon rinds. It has that similar sort of lovely sort of fragrance as lots of the members of the cucurbit family do. And it's beautiful. Sadly, that doesn't really transfer over into cooking. I know some people that sort of ferment this and make a shoyu out of it. And that is something that you could give a go. But this mushroom is best when you get it relatively young, even younger than this, because it tends to go a little bit woody and fibrous. If I find a bigger specimen, I tend to just cut the edges off of it like that and eat it, and leave the rest of it to spread its spores into the environment. But it is good as just a fried mushroom. Put it with some garlic, a little bit of thyme, olive oil, and then finish it with some butter. It's beautiful on toast, and very welcome at this time of year. I've seen it this early once before, but it is definitely early for this mushroom. So if you like dryad saddle, and it isn't a mushroom for everyone, then go out there and check your dryad saddle spots, because this is the third specimen that I found of this in the last 2 weeks. And if I'm looking up there, it looks like one of them might have even fruited and rotted off already, which means that that must have been out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there is definitely dryad saddle out there at the moment for you to go and find. What a good thing to see. Let's see what else there is. Growing all along the side of the road here, this beautiful vivid green thing is the first stages, the basal rosette of one of my favourite members of the cabbage family, which is Jack by the Hedge, or hedge garlic. It's got a really distinctive heart-shaped leaf again, but with slightly weird, bizarre tangs on it like that. You'll notice these stalks that go up. This will be easier to identify a little bit later on in the season when it gets its little cluster of white flowers on it and those sort of seed petioles that are so distinctive of Jack by the Hedge. So this is its first stage. If you are new to foraging, maybe wait until a little bit later on in the season to learn how to identify the plant fully. And then when it comes back next year, you'll be able to identify it at this stage. But it's got these beautiful sort of scalloped edges to the leaves. They are so nice. I like these in a salad. I like them cooked into things. I like them raw as a trailside snack. They are also really good to sort of use as a vine leaf and stuff with rice and stuff. Like a stuffed vine leaf, they're pretty good. But it is a super common plant. It's got a few different common names. Sometimes it is called hedge garlic or hedge mustard, and it is a member of the Brassicaceae family, so it does have that sort of strange pepperiness going on. That's sort of the thing that you get with hairy bittercress and all of your mustard family, black mustard, etc. But again, it's slightly muted and it has a garlicky overtone. There's a sort of sweet complexity to it. This tree here is one of my favourite trees on the island. I'll show it to you in a second. So this is known as the elephant tree or the octopus tree. So this entire thing is one huge tree, and it used to have another one that came out that way, but that's it lying on the ground there covered in ivy, just from a wild food point of view. That also supports a lovely colony of dryad saddle in the summer months, so I usually come and pick dryad saddle mushroom from here as well. But this used to be one of the wonders of the Isle of Wight. In fact, during Victorian times, when this place was hugely popular with people coming down here for sort of like wellness holidays to do cold water swimming, there used to be shower banks and coachloads of people that would come just to see this tree. But very few people come to see it now. The road has fallen away in that direction. Down there is just a small little village. And this place doesn't get much through traffic, save for the occasional cyclist and lots of dog walkers or people doing the round the island coastal path. It is a sight to behold. I think that would have been its main trunk at some point, and then as that died, these ones shot up. But it's meant that it's got a huge trunk on the underside of it, and it is a beautiful thing. Back when I was a kid, before the road fell away, there used to be a bus route down here, so that was put there just to stop the buses sort of knocking into the trunk of the tree, to remind them to go a little bit wide at this spot. I've got a friend who gives the tree offerings on a New Year's Day, and he often places a bit of cheese halfway up. I have no idea why, but it's good to have eccentric friends like that. Here, growing next to the side of this road, is another member of the Brassicaceae family. This is Honesty. You can recognise it in spring with these clusters of 4-petalled flowers. It grows from a fleshy stem that's covered in little hairs and has these beautiful heart-shaped leaves. The leaves themselves form a point at the end and have these beautiful serrations around the outside. The leaves are really good. Even the bigger ones like this that can be slightly rough are excellent cooked as a vegetable. I quite like them raw as well. They've got that sort of lovely sort of mustard flavour that you get with other members of the brassica family, but not too strong and potent. And in the background you've got a lovely sweet sort of cabbaginess, like a curly kale, that sort of thing. So it's a really, really versatile member of the brassica family for you guys to learn. It's one that I like to ferment. So there we go. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for this week. I hope you enjoyed that little short walk into the great British countryside. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more foraging videos and recipes from this beautiful landscape. And until next week, take care.